welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and on today's Everton 24/7, there are rumours galore. I'm going to start with Tierney, who I briefly mentioned yesterday was subject to a 15 million bid by Arsenal. I said yesterday how given we already had Leighton Baines and Luca Dean at left back, it would be highly unlikely that we would do battle with them over the Celtic player. But now it's rumoured by the Herald in Scotland that we are set to launch a bid, with Celtic looking for the £25 million fee that they tried to coax out of us last summer. Napoli and Leicester City are also interested. And Tierney is a really dynamic fullback, not too different to a certain Andy Robertson, who we all know too well from across the park. And an admission on my part is that I actually preferred Tierney to Luca Dean when we were linked with both of them last summer. I was actually a little bit disappointed to end up with Dean, and I might not have been the only one for sure. I know that El Pivote, he's a regular on this channel, and he spoke of his preference of Tierney over Digne also last summer. Well, what a difference a year makes. Speaking of El Pivote, he was in our Gomes discussion show on Friday alongside our very own Jerry Gibson, so by all means go and check that out when you get a chance. It's very good. I've watched it, so I know. But as far as Tierney's concerned, I do find it highly unlikely that this is more than either paper talk or an agent trying to pressure Arsenal to up the bid. With our player of the year in his position and his deputy just signing on for another year, it's arguably the last position we need to strengthen right now, and I don't believe our interest in Tierney is serious. Despite how much I do rate the lad, I just don't think it's a goer. Onto the rumour roundup now, and the name Diego Llorente continues to pop up. Diario AS in Spain suggests that Everton's interest is serious interest, and that maybe we are further into negotiations than was first suggested. Now, for me, this does raise a little bit of a question mark about Kurt Zouma. Does it suggest that there's something Everton know that we don't regarding Chelsea's stance on Zouma? Are they playing hardball? Does it suggest that maybe they're anticipating a long saga, as I was discussing a little bit yesterday? I would prefer Kurt Zouma, absolutely, and especially given he's got a bit more experience, but I am more than happy to trust Brands and Silva's judgment and their decision making. Now, another position on Marco Silva's wish list was a right back, and we've been linked with another one today, a much more obscure one albeit, and that's James Justin of Luton Town. He's been linked with Leicester City and Aston Villa as well recently. Now, Luton have just been promoted to the Championship, and you'd think that they want to keep their squad together, but their recruitment officer and club legend Mick Harford has spoken out today saying that Luton Town's best interests are more important to him than an individual player. Now, from our past experiences as Evertonians, we've seen a lot of key players leave the club in the past, and when those kind of sound bites are thrown around, it usually means that the player is set to leave by the end of the window. And if that is the case, and he's the man we want, it's up to us to convince him to come here. There's no excuse for a player, if he's our man, to end up at Leicester City or Aston Villa ahead of us. However, I can see us going for someone a bit more experienced who could perhaps replace Seamus Coleman straight away, in a similar sense to what we did on the opposite flank with Luca Dean replacing Leighton Baines last summer. I doubt Justin is ready for that kind of responsibility as a first choice right back, and maybe our other heavily linked right back, Santiago Arias, is the right link to be keeping tabs on at the moment. Now, an interesting one, Eric Dyer. Spurs have been linked with Tanguy Ndombele, of course, a lot recently, and if that deal is to go through, it looks as if Spurs may well let Eric Dyer leave. Is he a decent replacement for Idrissa Gueye if he was to leave? I wouldn't personally be keen on us signing him. I wouldn't be personally keen on Idrissa Gueye leaving. But I don't think Eric Dyer offers that much, certainly not as much as Idrissa Gueye. If Spurs want rid, is it really ambitious of us to be pursuing him? And he also said that he didn't enjoy his time at Everton that much during his first spell. He said he didn't like the Scouse accent, if I remember rightly, so if, God forbid, he does end up signing for Everton, let's just make sure it's not Tom Davis who greets him on his first day here. Now, another defensive mid we've been linked with, and that's Maxime Gonalons of Roma. He was on loan at Sevilla last season, and now both Everton and West Ham are apparently trying to get him in on loan. Like Dyer, it's unlikely unless Ghana leaves this summer, and if Ghana was to leave, I doubt Gonalons on loan is what Marcel Brands would have in mind as a Ghana replacement. I've seen him play. He doesn't strike me as capable of anything more than what Morgan Schneiderlin already does for us. If it happens, particularly to replace a very popular player like Idrissa Gueye, I think it'd be an incredibly underwhelming signing, and I imagine fans would be a bit let down by it, in all honesty. Now on to a rumour which has been sparked a lot by Richarlison's soundbite from last week, and that's David Neres. Obviously, be a very popular signing here, I'd imagine. He's away on Copa America duty with Brazil at the moment, and he said that he will wait until after the tournament is finished to make a decision on his future. Apparently, there's interest now from Inter Milan, and these soundbites have come as a result of a journalist asking him after Peru were thrashed 5-0 by Brazil. So maybe a slight wait for Neres to make a decision, as it's looking now with Brazil in the quarterfinals that it'd be more and more likely that Brazil will be progressing very far into that tournament after a number of great displays, granted. Obviously, those rumours would be great if they came true. If Neres came, it would be a marquee signing, you'd imagine, but I personally think there are a lot of more important positions to strengthen before pursuing David Neres. Now, that is something Everton have spoken regularly about since the end of the season, that the word among the media is that once Andre Gomes is done, Everton's priority positions are centre-back, right-back and striker. As a winger, Neres doesn't really fit those positions, but as I've said regularly on these shows, we are likely to shift a lot of players this summer. Should any of Walcott, Onyekuru or Ademola Lookman leave this summer, then no doubt there will be an opening in the first team, and as a left-footed winger with a bit of a different skill set, Neres would undoubtedly add a new string to our attacking bow, if you like. But in my opinion, we need to get those priority positions sorted out first, and I'm sure that will be the way we go about our business this summer. Now, about Andre Gomes, I will just finish with a brief word on him. He was at a family wedding yesterday, as we saw posted on his Instagram last night. He was looking very sharp, but that may offer a bit of an explanation to the delays in his unveiling as an Everton player. So let's not get our knickers in a twist. Hopefully it's done sooner rather than later. What should help us stop our heads falling off, if you like, it'll just keep us a bit more composed. We know how keen Andre is to come back here, and I'm sure he'll be an Everton player pretty soon. Hopefully this time next week we'll have a double announcement of him and Kurt Zouma, fingers crossed. But that is all on a Sunday full of rumours, with pretty much none of them concrete. No doubt the rumour mill will be back in action firmly tomorrow with more news for you, so make sure you tune in for tomorrow night's edition of Everton 24/7. Until then, thanks for watching again on the Toffee Blues. See you later.